Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make this a video for all the moms out there that are looking for tips and tricks to weaning their toddler from breastfeeding cold turkey. So if you would like more information about how I successfully weaned my toddler cold turkey, then stay tuned for this video. Kylan is here. She will probably pop in and out of the video because she is not wanting to take her second nap. I made an initial video on a process of trying to wean Kylan when she was about 11 and a half months, and that turned out not to be successful at all. Ultimately, I just really wasn't ready to be done with our breastfeeding journey, and she was definitely not ready. And that would definitely be my first tip. Make sure you are truly ready to be done with your breastfeeding journey. Because you're going to need to revisit why you are doing this when things get difficult. For me personally, I had an upcoming appointment after her first birthday, and I knew I was going to be prescribed medication, and that medication I cannot take while nursing. So I knew I had a goal, an end goal in mind, that a certain date by which we needed to end our breastfeeding journey. Everybody has their reasons for why they want to end breastfeeding, but everybody's reasons are different, and everybody's reasons are personal for them, and it's up to you. You've made a huge sacrifice and you've done an amazing thing for your baby, you know, for however long you chose to do so, and you know, your reasoning for wanting to end that is totally up to you, but make sure that you're firm and grounded in your reason. Tip number 2, I do not recommend weaning your toddler during any big transitions. So if your baby is not feeling well, or teething, or you know, transitioning from 2 naps to 1 nap, or you know, anything, any kind of big transitions or milestones that are going on, I would not recommend trying to wean your toddler at that time, because that is when they're gonna want more nursing and more comfort. So it's gonna be a lot more difficult. Tip number 3, distraction is key. Distraction is the name of the game when it comes to weaning cold turkey specifically. I chose to pick a weekend where I knew I was going to be doing some promotional work. Basically, I was going to be out of the house a lot, and Kylan would primarily be with Chris. So I knew out of sight, out of mind, like this was the perfect opportunity to do it, because she wasn't going to be around me, and she wasn't going to be thinking about nursing. And that worked out really, really well for us. So if you're not going to be physically away from your child, I would definitely, you know, find new toys, maybe new activities that you can take your toddler to. Just new ways that you can play and engage with your toddler that doesn't involve nursing and feeding, because you really want their mind to be focused on, you know, other things. Also, wear something that if there's no easy access for them. Sorry, she is not going to sit still for this. So yeah, tip number 3, definitely make sure you have some tricks up your sleeve to distract, or if you can be out of sight, out of mind, and have daddy take care of baby for primarily, even better. Tip number 4, are you going to be transitioning, or have you already transitioned your baby onto either whole milk or alternative plant milks, or you may not be doing milk at all. But if you are doing milk, that may be an easier way, and I think that helped in our case, because whenever she did want to nurse, we were able to just offer milk. I also helped for Chris to be able to step in and feed her whenever she wanted to nurse, and that was seamless in helping with the transition to weaning cold turkey. Tip number 5, you really are going to need your partner to be fully on board through this process, because their cooperation and their support and their help is so crucial, especially if you're going to do this cold turkey. I would recommend having your partner do their bedtime routine, especially that first night. The first night, go ahead and prepare yourself. It is going to be difficult, especially if you have a toddler that is used to nursing for bedtime, and especially if they are used to nursing throughout bedtime, which Kylan was. Having my partner step in and help throughout the first night was, I think, a huge turning point, because once she realized that there was no boob coming, it was like, okay, why am I gonna keep waking up? Like, I only wake up to nurse. If there's no boob coming for me to nurse, then you know what, I might as well just go to sleep. After the first night, she just kind of got it, and from that point, things were just so much easier. The next night, she slept through the night, and she's been sleeping through the night ever since. And just kind of as an aside, just kind of not necessarily a tip, but just something to keep in mind, your toddler understands so much more than you think they do. They really do catch on very quickly, and they really do start to get it. So keep that in mind, that they understand a lot more than you think they do. I don't know what she's back here doing. And my last tip, which really should have been probably one of my first tips, is the day that you decide to end your breastfeeding journey and it's going to be your last feeding, I recommend that to make sure you kind of take in that moment. You really want to honor that this is going to be the end of your breastfeeding journey with this particular child. And you know, all of the sacrifice and the struggles and just the joy and love and bonding that you guys shared on this journey, you know, all of that is going to be coming to an end in that particular way. So you want to make sure you really take it all in, because at the end, you will miss nursing way more than they do. They will move on. Like, they will be done, over with. Once you stick to it and you're committed and they're done, they've forgotten about it. But you will have moments where you will truly miss it. You will truly miss that connection, just that way of being able to provide nourishment for your baby and sharing in that moment with them. You will miss it. So you really want to take in that moment where it is going to be that final feeding, just so that, you know, you really honored it for what it is. Don't rush through with the process, and don't just kind of just do it and not even think about it, because you'll look back. And I feel like that's one of the things that made me cave in the last time I tried to wean her, is because I just really missed it, and I felt like I didn't get a final, like there was no closure. So I guess that's a good word. Make sure you have closure. Okay, now this is really important. You can wean your toddler from nursing cold turkey. You cannot wean your breast from producing milk cold turkey. It's just not possible. Your breasts are not gonna automatically stop producing milk. So when you stop nursing your toddler, your breasts are still going to produce milk. And if you are not careful, it can lead to very painful symptoms, and it can lead to infection, mastitis, things like that. So you really want to definitely give your breasts the proper care and attention that they need and deserve through this process. What a lot of people recommend is that you just pump for relief. So that means you don't empty your breast, you just literally, once you're engorged, you just simply pump enough to not feel the discomfort. I don't recommend that. Maybe that does work for a lot of people. That did not work in my case, and that made things way worse for me. I would pump for relief, but my breast would just refill back to engorgement within like 10 to 20 minutes. At one point, I ended up being, by the second day, I ended up being in so much pain. Like, it was past the point of discomfort. It was just excruciating pain, and I felt like I was probably on the verge of mastitis if I did not act quickly. I weaned her. My last feeding for her was on a Thursday night. Friday, we made it through the entire day. Chris did the bedtime routine that Friday night. And then Saturday, things were good. She, you know, she would ask a little bit here and there, but we were just able to distract her. And then again, by that evening, I was gone all day, so Chris had her, and it was fine. And then Sunday morning, I woke up and I was in pain. So, and all Saturday, I was really engorged really bad as well. But by Sunday, I woke up in pain. I said, you know what? I'm gonna pump and I'm going to empty my breast. Like, that is what makes sense to me. So I used my electric pump, and I pumped until I was empty, and I felt instant relief. I fully expected that my boobs would just, you know, you know, by midday I would be back to being full and engorged, but it didn't happen. It did not happen for another 2 days. So literally I went 2 days of just no discomfort, no pain, no nothing, just, it was phenomenal. And then after 2 days, I went ahead and pumped until I was empty again. And I noticed by that time I was pumping, my output was a lot less. After that, I didn't need to pump anymore. Now in between that, like in the shower and things like that, I would manually express, you know, if I could feel my fullness or anything like that. But I never, from that point on, I never had any engorgement or anything like that. And my milk supply has just gradually gone down because obviously there's no supply, there's no demand. So that's why the supply is going down. So that is my recommendation to avoid mastitis and discomfort and engorgement and any of the above. Pump until you are empty, and don't think that that is going to increase your supply. You won't have the demand of a nursing infant. Your supply is going to dwindle. Yeah, that would be my advice. The bonuses is almost, basically immediately, she started sleeping through the night. Like, it has been a year since I have experienced what it is like to sleep through the night, and let me tell you, it is amazing. It is so amazing. So that was just a huge, huge, huge bonus. Also eating more and drinking more liquids. Another thing that I didn't expect, I actually expected the opposite, but she has now become a lot more like kind of independent. She is less clingy, less fussy, not screaming all the time, not crying all the time, not like, she has like turned into just like such a much easier child. And I don't know why or what the correlation between nursing and that is, but she'll sit and play, you know, by herself, and it's just been a breath of fresh air, just kind of a 180. Another awesome thing is that now I don't have to worry if I'm gonna be away from her or anything like that. Like, I'm not tethered to her anymore. So if somebody else needs to keep her or if he needs to keep her, they can do everything and it's not an issue anymore. And that's a relief, because the thought of having to pump and I can't be away from too long and then I'm gonna be engorged and I'm gonna need to express, like, it's just so nice not to have that worry anymore. And another thing that I think is just, you know, amazing is that now Kylan and I have like a genuine relationship that doesn't involve the boob. And then of course, one of the biggest things, which is, you know, what I really, you know, started to get to the point of struggling with missing, was I have my body back to myself. I can do whatever. I just did a cleanse detox, which I love doing detoxes, and I haven't done one in almost 2 years because I've been pregnant and then nursing for almost the last 2 years. And so it's just been nice to be able to, you know, get back into, you know, eating the way I want, doing different things that I want to do, just having my body back to myself and not having to constantly worry about, you know, what am I doing and how is this going to affect my nursing relationship. So that has just been awesome. So overall, I am so happy with my decision to wean Kylan cold turkey. There are definitely times where I miss it. You start to get used to it. It is definitely bittersweet. Definitely make sure you're ready to end that relationship. Definitely make sure you are going to be committed to it, because if you flip-flop and go back and forth, it's just going to make it more difficult and it's going to make it harder for them to understand. But definitely, I hope these tips helped you, and I keep saying definitely, and I don't know why, but I really hope these tips helped you. If you have any questions at all, please leave a comment down below. I really didn't have, you know, a lot of guidance when it came to weaning cold turkey, so I wanted to make this video to help any other mamas out there that needed to, you know, try this process. If you like this video and it was helpful at all, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys. You wanna say bye-bye? You wanna say bye-bye? You say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye, guys. Mwah.